Set is a powerful antediluvian vampire in the world of darkness. We will be specifically talking about him in the Vampire the Masquerade setting, but he does have connections to Mummy as well as Werewolf the Apocalypse. Kind of a big deal in World of Darkness. And I personally just really love the Egyptian themes and the Egyptian vibe. So let's get into Set, also known as Sutekh. Set was embraced by one of Cain's children. This is believed to have happened about 2,000 years before the first pharaohic dynasty. Set became leader of an ancient cult of snake worshippers. Originally known as the Snake Clan, this clan would live on. They would progress to become known as followers of Set and eventually the Ministry in modern day. Set and his clan, they were worshippers of a god called Apophis, also known as Apep the Destroyer. Apep was a corrupter. It was a creature of oblivion. Apep is also the ultimate enemy of all of the mummies, those known as the Reborn. So it should come as no surprise that the followers of Set, the Ministry, they would all be trained in a discipline known as Serpentis. This discipline focuses on some shape-changing abilities as well as corruption with characteristics associated with this snake. And just like all good cults, they have an enemy which they have battled for thousands of years, known as Children of Osiris. It is said that the founder of this is none other than Osiris, as the name suggests. Big shocker there. Though many kindred and vampires, they do not believe that this organization exists within modern knights. There are some who are in the know and they have their connections to the secret societies and those who know about the secret societies. And the Children of Osiris have done such a good job of keeping their organization secret, hardly anyone knows that they actually do exist. The Children of Osiris are known to practice a discipline called Bardo. This discipline allows them to have control over the beast inside. So the Children of Osiris, they are trying to control the beast in themselves. They are trying to stop the corruption. And of course, the Ministry is trying to corrupt everything. So you can see where the tensions would run a little high. Set and Osiris, they butted heads for millennia, for thousands of years. But their final battle happened in 33 BCE. Since then, Set has not been seen, and it is widely believed that he is in torpor somewhere in the sands of Egypt. Egypt would of course be Set's homeland, which comes as a surprise to no one. He was born there approximately 7,000 years ago, give or take a few hundred years. Now Set was actually brothers with Osiris. Set was known as a great hunter. He was a fantastic warrior. The unfortunate part is, so was his brother, Osirus, and they had sibling rivalry. They were both grandchildren of Ra, and Ra was a mighty warrior chieftain who united the upper and lower parts of Egypt, ultimately conquering the people of the Nile. Now the sibling rivalry between Osiris and Set gets even worse. Here's what happened. Ra was kind of jealous and didn't want to give up power. He did not want to abdicate his throne. Ra had made a decree that he didn't want any of his followers, any of his bloodline, to have any more offspring because he didn't want to have anyone challenging his right to the throne. Now Set's parents, Get and Nub, they didn't listen to this ruling and they had Set and Osiris. Ra was very slighted by this indiscretion and he ordered their parents to be killed. This decree, followed by action, really made Set angry and he voiced his displeasure quite vocally. And because of this, Ra banished Set. Osiris, on the other hand, his tune was a little different than that of Set. Osiris expressed loyalty towards Ra, even after this decree. It's hard to say if Osiris was actually fearful of Ra and didn't want to be banished himself, whether he was actually truly okay with this, or if there was some kind of ulterior motive. It's difficult to say. Whatever the reason, Osiris became heir to the throne. Before Ra's passing, he had ordered Osirus to keep the worship of Ra going and to replace the worship with no other. Osiris agreed to this to keep the peace, and after Ra's passing, defied all of that, broke all of his promises, and made the people of Egypt worship Osiris as a god. And Set, He learned of his brother's ascension to the throne and decided that he would come back and visit. Hopefully he could stay. He wanted to reconcile and make things right with his brother. The only thing was, Osirus kept the banishment order going. From here, Set, in his pain and his betrayal, he took on a new name, Sutekh, and he traveled north into Assyria. And it is here that he is rumored to have met his sire, Zillah. The Gangrel, they tell a different story about Set. While they agree that he traveled north into Assyria, they disagree on who he met. Instead, they believe he met someone by the name of Enoya. They claim that Sutekh engaged in a riddle contest with Enoya and lost, and he paid for it with his life. She devoured his insides and put some of her blood into him, which is how he became a vampire. Enoya is said to have been a child of Lilith and the progenitor of the Gangrel clan. Regardless of which of these events happened, when Set woke up, and he did wake up, he knew something was different. He believed himself to have achieved divine status. He also had a particular affinity for snakes, and this just increased. And even within the Setites and the ministry itself, there are many who believe that Set, Osiris, Horus, they were all gods, actual gods, and they descended from them. Now here's where things get even more interesting. The Malkavians, they have a connection to Set as well. And if you go all the way back to Malkav, the original Malkavian vampire, the Malkavians, they believe that Set was a kindred brother to Malkav, the clan progenitor, as well as Saulot. In these tales, Set and Malkavian were having an argument over what truth meant, what truth actually was. Set believed that all truth was known within the soul, and whether you knew it or not, you had to bring it out, and that was the purpose of the embrace. This would have all been happening in the first city, known as Enoch. So this is like really early days. And it would be after the flood that Set would move to the second city and take up shelter there. Now the Ventru, they tell a story that Set was banished from the second city because of potentially a disagreement that he and Malkav were having, which resulted in Set consuming the heart of Malkav's twin sister, Erikel. I told you this guy was connected to a lot in World of Darkness. After Set's banishment, he would return to Egypt. Set would kill Osirus and his son Horus and take the throne and rule Egypt, which he would do for some time, that is until Horus came back as a mummy and would seek vengeance on Set for killing his father Osirus and stealing the throne, ruling Egypt, and this would kick off a battle that would last for thousands of years. Did you follow all of that? Because we still haven't even talked about Modern Nights yet. In the Modern Nights, or the Final Nights setting as it goes, Set briefly woke up right after the crucifixion. From here, he disappeared and hasn't been seen or heard from since. He did leave his clan and his childer some vague prophecies about the doom and gloom that was coming and his eventual return. Now it's rumored within the Setites themselves, who are already a cult, there is a even secretive cult or a small cabal known as the Coil of the Lion. And this cabal is said to know a secret which they will do absolutely anything to protect. That would be the resting place of Set. And not only do they know where he's resting, but they actively protect him. They guard him from being intruded on by anyone. Despite this, there is a Ventru by the name of Nash, and he claims that he has found the resting place and even drinking the blood of Set, as well as discovered the secret Coil of the Lion cult. What is known is the fact that there are prophecies in existence that claim Set will return. And if he does, it's bad news bears for everyone. This is just one of the Gehenna scenarios that exist. Now, there are some other conflicting stories of Set that I would like to cover in a different video, so look forward to that. Now, if you do like the Egyptian theme and you want to know a little bit more about Set's followers and his clan's bloodline, click on the video on your screen now. Thank you to my patrons who continue to support me and the channel, which makes videos like this possible. My name's Nathaniel. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.